Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to be revealing the final product of the LIZARDO mesh after all the texture painting. So in the last video you saw me start the texture painting. I ran into a few issues, so just a heads up. When you're working with textures in Blender, make sure to save the image texture to the hard drive. For example, if you're in texture paint and you're working on the painting here, make sure to click image and save. What I was running into was I was not doing that step, and apparently Blender deletes all the work you did on it. Very strange. Let's all welcome LIZARDO. Came out pretty cool. I like it. I learned a few tricks doing it, and so I'm going to get into rigging now. My favorite part is how the eyes came out. Now, I didn't go in and create any kind of bump map, but this is using the normal map. I think the bump map would be something like to give texture to like the sweatshirt and like the skin and stuff. I'm not exactly sure, unless the normal map is a bump map and I'm just not understanding the naming conventions yet. But it would be cool to eventually go in and create some sort of texture on here. But again, my goal is not realism. It's mostly just giving a little bit of texture to the low poly mesh. So I'm gonna go silent now, and I do have a secret in this video to reveal how to improve and speed up your game character rigging in Blender using the GAMERIG tool. So I'm gonna go silent now till that moment, and let's go. Okay everybody, hello, and here we are. So today I'm gonna show you a little secret, not really secret, more of an awesome tip that I kind of stumbled on. So recently I started using the B Surfaces add-on, and I had to click on vertex snap to make it work in conjunction with the shrink wrap modifier. And I don't know about you, but I struggle a ton to get a Blender Unreal Engine skeleton in Blender to go in the fingers and get the bones to align with any real small parts, like maybe an elbow, and especially if anyone knows, if I've done this before, getting the bones inside the fingers. Like for example, if I'm going to go and set up this hand, so first we have to align where the fingers go, right? So we have to move these in place. We have to get it like this, right? We gotta start these, we got the name of the bones, but I think these are the bones that go in the palm, right? And then you go around, you're like, oh man, that's like not where it's supposed to be. So let's back up a bit. So what I do for this part, for the fingers part, before the fingers tweak, I come up here and I activate snap. And here what I do is I put it on vertex to start. So now what I do is I can move this over, so right about there. And if we look, it snaps to the top of the hand here. And I don't have to go chasing it all around the 3D space. So now if you're not sure which finger you're using, if you look up here on Pinky Master, I'm working on the pinky. It's like carpal something, I don't even remember. But let's get these aligned. So let's also move this. And it's so beautiful. It just snaps where you need it to. So let's move the pinky over a bit more. Again, you can tweak it a tiny bit if you need, but it's not going to go flying around the 3D space. So let's move this up here. And what's great too is if your topology is good and your mesh has a nice loop here, it'll attach to those loop points. Which moving forward, I'll try to keep in mind when I do it, but look at that. It's pretty much where it needs to be, right? I could bring it back a little more, but I kind of like it just right before the knuckles. I don't know if that affects the animations yet and how it does, but now let's move this and get it right around there. And let's move it inward. Oh, that's good. That's a good spot right there. Now, it's going to sit on top of the hand at first, and that's okay. Now what we'll do is we'll click on volume, snap target to volume, and once I read this, I'm like, that might be it. So let's go to fingers tweak, turn everything else off. Now we have all these little bones that we have to get properly aligned in here, so let's do it without the snap first. So let's try to get this knuckle in place. So you're in this angle, you're like, okay, cool, it looks like it's going where I want it to go. All right. And then again, we go here, and that's really not where it needs to be. It's close, but I have a better solution. You know, we could even show a more dramatic version of it. Let's try to get this somewhere in the first finger joint, right? Let's move it there. Move it there. And they're off center. So what happens is you start going into this game. It's actually coming out better than I thought here, but if you look, that didn't go where I wanted to. You end up in this game of pretty much cat and mouse getting that in the joint. And you probably already know where I'm going with this. Click this on, go to volume, and let's put this where the knuckle is. Let's put this where the knuckle is. Now I'm not going to change the view. I'm going to leave it at this angle. Put this. Let's even go even more drastic. Let's put this right here in the front finger. Oh, now it's going to block my view. So let's keep working on the larger joints. Now again, I'm purposely doing this to show the how messy it can be working with these finger bones. Okay, let's bring the last pinky part over. Alright, so I haven't changed the view. Now, remember before when we were trying to do this, the bones were going any which way. It looked right on screen, but they were not. I kind of messed that up, I think. Move backspace, move back up out of that first, because I leave the thumb for last. So now let's do a nice spin around. Okay, not too bad, but now we have the advantage of doing it again. And from my idea, what it's calculating is it's centering it within that mesh space, the volume of the mesh space. And, oh well, I must have pulled it too far back. Now again, it's not a one-shot deal. You have to get it perfectly centered inside that space, that volume. So let's move a little forward more. But it gets you a lot closer than trying to eyeball it. See right there? Now I don't know about you, but that was a lot faster and a lot less fighting with getting these bones aligned than normal. Now with the thumb, again, you want to come around to this corner and you want to try to get it as perpendicular to your view as you can, like that, and it sort of finds its way inside. Now here, instead of using the snap, I'll turn the snap off and I'll just bring that down, since this isn't really that far off from where it needs to be. And then you can tweak it using the regular method. Like for example, I know I need to bring these down because I want these sort of in the hand. Just an easy Z shift. And there you have it. So for me, this has been a real help in getting these bones in position. And now, you probably even do it with the wrist, right? This is not too far off, so I'll just use the manual way. And let's get this centered here. Alright, so now I'm gonna continue working on this rig, and I'll speak to you soon. Alright, so it looks like the rig worked out pretty well. I have to definitely go back and work on a lot of the vertex painting. I'm going to leave that for later. My goal now is to export this mesh, this skeletal mesh, with the Unreal Engine rig into Unreal and then test it out. So let's do that. Alright, so we're back in Unreal Engine. Now, previously when I tried this, I had an issue with the bone hierarchy error popping up, and I think that was because the first time I tried doing it, I had to recreate the GAMERIG mannequin, and each time I did it, I wasn't deleting the original vertex groups and armature modifiers. So hopefully this time we don't run into that. Fingers crossed. So we're going to select the LIZARDO FBX, and like normal, we're going to leave everything alone except for selecting the skeleton. So we added the Unreal 5 SK mannequin in the GAMERIG tool. So let's see what happens. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Oh, no error this time. Perfect. So that was the issue. It's also imported all of the texture maps, the normal maps, created the materials. Now, the way Unreal creates the materials is a little strange. I have to figure that out, but we'll worry about that later. So let's open up the skeletal mesh. Look how great that looks. So maybe I could fit in adding the bones for the tail, because I know in Unreal 5 now we could do that. We could go in and actually modify the skeleton for this one mesh. See, this weird stuff that's happening here that has to do with the way Unreal is importing the materials. Like for example, for the pants mat, it's doing all this weird stuff, right? Like it's doing all this ambient color, diffuse color, specular color, shininess, and Fong to metal roughness. So I think some information that's being transported from Blender here is messing with Unreal. Like for example, I don't think we need all of this stuff. Like I could probably just connect this straight to the diffuse color, and we could, I guess, get rid of all this stuff, right? Because we're not worrying about metallic, specular roughness, because that's all different maps I would have to put later. And also like here, the normal map, it looks like it didn't just straight away disconnect the normal map. I like things simple. Again, there's probably a reason for all that's happening. So what's this here? Emissive color. Yeah, we don't even need this here. We're not worrying about emissive color. Hopefully it doesn't go crazy, but I don't want any extra math happening on these. So now if we go back to the skeletal mesh, the pants should be better. Yeah, there's some weird stuff happening. But again, we'll spend some time later and find out what the deal is with that. Yeah, so let's just let's preview the animation. Hopefully it doesn't start breaking. Why is it glitching out right here? What's going on? Hello. Let's see, fire shotgun hit. Okay. Not too bad. So it looks like the waist is going crazy. And I remember I had this problem last time, and it had to do with the location of the pelvic bone. Again, in the future, I may have to making it one full mesh. This was just an experiment to see if I could use multiple different meshes. And I'm sure if I go in, I know the weight painting would probably fix a lot of this. That's stretching pretty weird. I don't think this would be an issue that would be solved with weight paint, because I think this would happen no matter if it was one mesh or like 10, like I have here. But it's not bad. That's cool. Boom. I don't know what these little pieces are doing. I'd have to look into it. Yeah, I think that's because it's separate meshes. Yeah, I don't know how Unreal handles the different meshes. Unless they change the mannequin, I don't know. But I would consider this a success. Just got to tweak it out, work on it. But yeah, thanks for following along. I believe this concludes the Lizardo character build. Oh, and look at the fingers. Yeah, that's cool. It looks like they round out where they should. No weird deformations. It's pretty cool. Yeah, just little things I have to tweak out and figure out and understand why they like the shoulders look like they're being pushed out. And again, I believe that's because the vertex paint, the weight painting for these bones is not affecting the surrounding mesh. For example, this bone that's pushing the hips forward is probably not vertex painting this mesh. And we'll get that figured out. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for stopping by, watching this video. And if you can, buy me a coffee. Thank you and have a great day.